Hello everyone, Professor Toybox here, along with the Falcon, and we're back in my Atlantis toy box, working on level 4 of my randomly generated dungeon adventure today. This is going to be the final boss battle, and as such I want to use a couple of iconic scenes from the movie, and I'll show you those here in just a second. First, you'll notice I've taken the liberty of setting the toy box sky and turning off the music, and also the default texture here. But today is going to be largely a building exercise, so this is what we're going to be basically building. I want to build a couple of iconic scenes from the movie, and you can see here, this is the cavern that's underneath the palace, and this is where Kita basically finds the Heart of Atlantis, and this is the set that we're going to build today. We're also going to build the palace up on top. I don't think we're going to be able to do both the caverns and the palace today, so we're going to focus on just the caverns. I've already taken the liberty as well of dropping down the boss fight over here. And I've done this out of the way a little bit. This takes a while to drop, and though I'm not going to be doing anything with this today, I put this down first because it takes a huge jump in memory once I do put it down. As you can see on the right, the memory's gone up quite a bit with just that one piece. And I found that if I try to build too much architecture in terrain in the level, and then I try to put that down, on my Wii U anyway, it tends to hang the system, and I have to reboot the whole console. So I put this down first just to make sure it's there, and now that it is, I can go ahead and do some building. So I'm going to come out over here, and we're going to start building the cavern first, and this is going to be underneath the palace. I'm going to build this out here separate from that starting block, and I'll eventually delete that. But for today, we're going to go ahead and start working on these caverns, because I think this will be the trickiest part of this to build, to get it to look like the picture. The stones that were along the side of the wall were rounded. These are more square, but I think that's the closest we can get with the pieces that we've got to work with, and I think it'll still look pretty decent. This is the symbol, of course, that shows up in the palace in the water. There's some stones that were arranged this way in the movie, and when they stood on the middle of it, a pedestal lowered out of the center of this and came down into these caverns to this point. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with this, because I'm not going to be able to cut a hole in this. I can't connect this to a path, so I'm going to do something a little bit different here in my toy box. But since this is part of the iconic setting of the movie and part of the recognizable setting here, I want to go ahead and make sure this is in place. And we'll go ahead and put the cavern in here first. It's always fun trying to line those things up. And let's see, that should be pretty decent. This is going to be a fairly largish cavern, but I think it'll be, it might look kind of small, but I think it'll be pretty large once we're in here and running around. So that gets us up halfway, and then I think for the top part of this, I would like to, let's see, drop this down here, try to center this a little bit. There we go. For the top part of this, we'll use these textures. I don't really have a rounded section like I do at the bottom there, where the slope is inverted. But this kind of goes from a narrower bottom to a more wider top. So I think this will work pretty decent for the upper part of the cavern. Kind of see how this goes here. And I think I'm going to need a smaller piece here for this. There we go. As I said, this won't look exactly right, but I think it'll look pretty close. It won't look too bad anyway. I think it'll be pretty passable, and for anybody who's watched the movie, it should be a recognizable location. Now let's see, we'll come back down to the bottom and fill this in. There we go. And since that doesn't quite come over all the way, we'll go ahead and put this up here. And I'm actually going to leave a gap on that other side. My thinking is because I can't make this platform go up and down, maybe what I will do is make it so that there's a stairway here off to the side, which runs up to the top of the plateau and the palace. And who knows, maybe they put that in after the movie to make it a little easier to get down here. And it's plausible in my mind anyway. Okay, now for the top part of this, I think, yeah, that'll work just fine right there. There we go. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I'll have a roof on that eventually, but for right now, that doesn't look too bad. It's a structure very similar to the movie, and with the rocky walls, I think that's going to work pretty good. Okay, now I want to put in the lake that's down here. The trouble is, if I look at any of these terrain pieces over here, these are basically not going to fill this area, and there's nothing here that I can make a large water covered area. So we're going to come up to the building blocks and we're going to drop down some water, and I'm thinking maybe we want to put another block under here because I don't think the water comes all the way up here. I think there's a little bit of a slope that's there. So we'll come over here and put in a little bit larger block. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. Something, oh, not quite that big. There we go. Something like that. I don't think it needs to come all the way out to the end here, but part way, that should be pretty decent. Okay. And now the water can come up to that. We'll come in here and texture this, and we're going to use the water texture. I'm so glad they provided this. It'd be really nice if they had some actual water pieces where you can kind of step down into it a little bit, but this will have to do. Alright, so now we just need a bunch of these. And so I'm going to go ahead and fill the floor of this with the water, and I will be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I've got the water filled in, and this is looking really good now. It's starting to look a lot like the scene from the movie, and I like how that's coming together. That looks a lot like the little area where they first come down. I'm not real crazy about the edging on this. The water comes right up to this, and it looks kind of abrupt. So I was just thinking maybe if there's a way we can put these rocks in here. Unfortunately, I can't get them too close to that, the edge of that. That might work. Cover up the seam a little bit, but then that blocks off the whole the whole entrance there. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll put that down and see if there's something else I can do here. Find another rock or something I can put down where that's not quite as ugly. Oh, there, that covers up the seam pretty well. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. I like it. I like it. And I don't think I want to put down too many of these. Okay, so there's our battle arena. And it's also the arena that you see in the movie. There, we can get in and out of there pretty easily. It frames it kind of nicely too, having those rocks there. Very good. Okay, so now what I want to do is, before we build too much more here, let's go grab the boss battle and move this so we can make sure that we have room for it in here. Get it situated just right. That's looking probably as close as we're going to get it. I can't go too much further this way because then I'm going to run into those walls. Although maybe I can move it a little further. Let's give it a shot. That is not too bad. If I want to put this as far over as I can, so that the boss is a little ways away, and so he's over where we're going to put the tikis, the masks that circulate up here, we're going to go ahead and use these tiki masks. And I wanted the boss to be as close to these as I could. So that's not too bad. That's almost right under. That'll work pretty good. Okay, so these, fortunately, if you happen to note, you can put those on a path. And so that's what we're going to do. And just so that we don't run into these, because I'm sure these probably work like the blocks once you put them down. I'm sure once you put them down and connect them to the path, I'm pretty sure that it's going to think they're still where they are. And we'll do 6 of these. That one's a little small. Okay. And now I need the path tool. And we'll go ahead and put down the path that we're going to connect these things to. In the movie, they all rotated in a circle. So we can go ahead and do that here as well. And they were up kind of high in the movie, so I think we'll put them about the level of this floor. Make sure this is centered pretty well. And I might throw a locator right here just so we can note the center of this thing. Alright, so we'll come out about like so. Sometimes it puts you into the mode where you add points, and sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you got to deal with that. It's buggy, but what are you going to do? So now I got to make my way all the way back over here. It would have been nice if they could have fixed some of these things before they ended, but I guess we should be grateful for what we have, huh? And let's see, exit. Might have to adjust these a little bit to make this an actual circle. Let's come in here, and this is going to be looped. There we go. I don't think I want to auto start the objects because this is going to be tricky enough to connect these things and have them spaced out properly. Okay, let's see what we got here. Hey, that looks pretty good. I think we got it. Okay, so now we'll come over and connect the first one here. There we go. Nice. And come under Properties, Toy Box Path. We'll use the default speed for now. I want to set the speed on the path itself so it'll affect all of these things at the same time. We want to orient along the path, which, interesting, caused this to rotate. So we're going to have to come over here to the rotation and turn this, looks like 90 degrees. Okay, and movement style is loop, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the rest of these to this path, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've got the tikis all connected to the path. I had to make the path a little bit wider, and so you can kind of get an idea here of the spacing of it. As you look at it, I'll try to give you a good look. For the reset point on each of these, this one is set to 0. This one is set to 16. This one's 33. This one's 50. This one is 67. And this one is 84. So if you set those reset points to that, and then I came over here and added a couple of buttons. This one connects to the path, and when pressed does a reset and stop, and the other one does a reset and play. And in doing that, I was able to space these out, attach a tiki, come over here and hit the reset button and get them all positioned. And so now I've got this one set up to reset and play. So now you can see them actually turn. And I think that's a little bit faster than what they were doing in the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. And we'll come over here. And I'm going to change the speed on this path. 100 is a little bit too much. Let's try 50 and see how that works. That might be a little too slow, but it might not. Okay. Actually, that looks about right, I think. So there we have it. Okay, so now in the middle of those, there was kind of a big ball of energy. And I was thinking the perfect thing for that would be under Instant Fun, if I recall. We have this power sphere. And so I was thinking this could sit right up here on top of this little locator, which I'll eventually remove. Trouble right now is this is like a physics ball, so if I drop this like so, it collapses. So I need something to hold it up there. And so we'll go ahead and delete that for the moment. Careful not to delete the boss battle. Ooh, Vader's out. Well, that's interesting. I'll make sure I turn him off. So in order to hold that up, we'll need something preferably invisible. And fortunately, under platforming toys, we have this scalable barrier block. So I was thinking we can drop this right in here. And this could sit on top of that. Doesn't need to be this tall though. So we'll go ahead and move this up about I guess right there. Okay. And now we can come back over here and put that power ball back down. There we go. And if we come out over here, let's go ahead and take a look at that. That looks pretty good. That looks very similar to what was in the movie. So I kind of like the looks of that. And that, of course, will be the power that transforms Rourke into whatever boss villain I want to use here, but we'll do that another day. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and leave those two buttons there for right now, just for testing purposes. And we'll go ahead and start working on the stairway here. Actually, before we even do that, we'll go ahead and put the roof on and see how this looks with the sky closed off. I want to see, make sure this isn't going to be a problem if we go ahead and put this on. I was hoping to be able to get to the palace today, but I've spent a lot more time building this than I was anticipating. So I think I'm going to save that for next time. And I may even build that offline, I'm not sure yet. With the roof on. Actually, we can put a little bit bigger one up over here. Like that. So now let's see how this looks with the roof on. Ah! Fortunately, I got a character who can fly, so I'll go ahead and just fly on down here and walk in through the opening that I left for the stairs, which I haven't put in yet. Have to get down there ourselves, I guess. There we go. Okay, so with the roof on, looks pretty dark, but I think that's about what we've got to do. And I wonder if I can turn Vader off here for right now. Having Vader walk around is making me a little bit nervous. I want to be able to walk around and look at this, but I don't want him attacking me while I'm doing that. If I use the same button here, new logic connection when pressed. Turn that off. So I'm not ready yet for any boss to be wandering around here. There we go. Now we can turn this back on. Very good. I like how this turned out. This looks a lot like the setting in Atlantis for this. This is starting to come together. I could have built this ahead of time, but since it's one of the more iconic scenes from the movie, I thought it might be beneficial for you to watch me put this together, and then you can recreate this on your own, in your own toy boxes, and that way you can see how this goes together and be able to tweak it if you need to. It's not always easy when you see it already built to figure out how it was constructed. So this way you get to see all the blocks that I use and the different pieces that I am making use of. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end for today. This has been a little bit longer to build this than I was expecting. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel or sign up on my blog to see what we do next in this series as we work on the final boss battle here for my adventure Return to Atlantis. You can find build tips and logic diagrams on my blog for the different challenges and different things that we build. And for now, hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.